So Russia has been in the news a lot, specifically all about protecting our elections, making sure that they're secure, making sure they aren't being tampering. But what people aren't really talking about is the threat that China actually proposes to our elections, to really all aspects of our information. Can you talk a little bit more about what the Chinese government or what these organizations are looking for specifically, and how they are a little bit more of a threat than the Russia narrative?
Well, you're absolutely right. I call it fake policy. I'm a tech policy expert, and we waste a lot of time in the media, mainstream media, talking about, big tech threat or net neutrality or privacy, and we don't focus on real threats where our national security, our personal safety, our personal privacy is at risk. So I've started a website called China Tech Threat, and I'm looking particularly at information technology. Now, many people may have heard about the threat of Huawei. It's absolutely clear, but it's not the only thing that's there. Huawei makes one set of products, but the threats to our digital society, they can come from the products we attach to the network, they come from the services we use, the software that we use. So we really have to look at where it comes from, what are the terms we're agreeing to, and China, there's a whole other layer here, is that any Chinese-owned company is subject to China's intelligence law, which basically stipulates that any data collected on a piece of Chinese technology is turned over to the Chinese government. And it's used for, whatever their purposes may be. Maybe they want to conduct research, industrial research. It's a way, for them to look at markets they want to enter, they want to steal technology, what have you. But the scary part, and this is a new report I have, is looking at the US, the states and the localities. They're making agreements with Lenovo and Lexmark. These were once American companies, today are owned by the Chinese, which are subject to this law. So any state government data, whether it's the DMV, Department of Elections in any state, the courts, the Children and Family Services, you name it, that data, if it's collected on a Lenovo server, a Lenovo computer, it's going to China. And so I've tried to highlight this to the various states' procurement officers. In their contract terms, they state this. They state that they can take any data off of that device and bring it to China. So, this is not tenable. It's not acceptable that we're so worried about privacy and we want to regulate everything that businesses do, and yet the state's government can just leave the door open for China to take our personal data. So, trying to bring attention to this issue.
Right, absolutely. Now, how can American citizens and local governments and even our federal government, how can we protect ourselves from this large China threat?
Well, so for one thing, this is something where it's the state government is putting us at risk by the products that they're using. And so that's at the state level, and they weren't aware of this. But also the federal government's not communicating it. We have a national vulnerabilities database where these things are listed. It's not user-friendly. The states don't know to check it. You have to be an engineer to go on that website and figure it out, so there needs to be communication about this. So, you could argue, should we be selling any products by a Chinese-owned company in America? I would be okay with that, but at least let's disclose what the risks are. We can put labels on the products, say this product is made by a Chinese-owned entity, it's subject to China's intelligence law. Now, I don't think people would like to buy that if they knew. So, this is a tenet of a free market. People have to have information. They can't make an informed decision without information.